We recorded this podcast before Hurricane Helene and Hurricane Milton, and I make a couple jokes about Florida in the podcast. In no way were they directed at Florida after the hurricane or in light of the hurricanes coming into Florida. While I still don't ever want to live in Florida, we want to reach out to our friends there, and if you want to support the cleanup efforts and help the victims of the hurricanes, you can obviously support the American Red Cross, AmeriCares, Rebuilding Together, Direct Relief, the Florida Disaster Fund, United Way of Florida, and several other organizations. We stand with our fans and friends in Florida, and, sometimes I make jokes, and they happen, to be recorded before something bad happens, and so in no way do we want you to think these jokes were directed at any of our friends in Florida before the hurricane. Thanks. Okay, I said we wouldn't talk about D&D on the podcast.
And we were not. We will not.
But, yeah, well, we are, because somebody rolled a 1 and this guy ended up back in the freaking comic book.
Oh, man. Are we talking about our favorite lantern? Oh, my lantern.
I hate this guy. I hate Guy Gardner. I'm sorry. I should feel more sympathetic. He got hit by a bus, it happens.
Different, special, green.
Do you know, I didn't think about this in his last appearance in the Human Target. We are, by the way, on the Human Target number 6. We've covered 1 through 5 on the previous 3 podcasts. If you were looking for those 3 podcasts, that would be 370, 371, and 372. Here on Funny Book Forensics.
Ba-dum-bump.
There we go. And Guy Gardner's back. I didn't think about this, but remember the scene where he was driving the Green Lantern car and Chance tricked him into getting hit by a bus?
Oh my gosh.
Yes. That was well played, Tom King.
Oh my gosh,
played.
That's ruthless. That is so dirty.
And if Greg Smallwood did that with the art and Tom King didn't even think of it, if Tom King's directions were just like, hey, get hit, he's going to drive and then Greg Smallwood, good on you. Or good on both. Good on the creative team. I don't know who exactly thought of it, but good on the creative team. That is
just
awesome.
Run over by a Lars vehicle and just smashed up real good. Homage.
Yeah, there's a tie back. Well, maybe that should have knocked him silly and
knocked him silly. Knocked him 5 ways to Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, we did talk about on that podcast. That was 2 podcasts ago about how maybe joking about concussions today isn't the best thing, since we figured out when Giffen and DeMatteis did it, maybe okay, but maybe not. I mean,
I've watched enough true crime shows to know that head injuries lead to other things, or at least that's what they say. What?
It's not so good. Yeah. Head injuries. What? Yeah. I've had a few, I think.
Yeah. What? Yeah.
Now we're joking about head injuries, the things we said we wouldn't joke about.
I've had them too. I was sitting there thinking, I heard a thing about car accidents, and I was like, oh yeah, no, I've still had residual things since car accident with my mom 10 years ago. But anyways, point being, yes, they're there.
Well, this is Funny Book Forensics, and I can't even transition. I was gonna try. I'm trying to transition off of head injuries, and it's not working. I don't know. Yeah, we're stuck.
Yes,
well, good news. If you go to project-nerd.com right now, you don't learn about anything about something except something called the 4.
1, 2, 3, 4. If you want something more, you're not going to find it there. It's all on the floor. The 4. That's right. On Kickstarter. It's a book about 4 individuals who have something that you want, and you're going to get it on Kickstarter.
Okay. Well, thank you for that great explanation of the book. You can also go to Kickstarter and find all about what Greg said, among other things. Yes, there you go, Iggy. We expect to be paid for that beautiful advertisement right there. Yeah. And now that we've learned all about the 4 in great detail, back it on Kickstarter.
Go do it.
Yeah, there you go. help keep us on
The art for the 4 looks
project-nerd.com.
really great. I actually can't wait to clear our dance card and be able to talk about the 4. What? Huh? Yeah, exactly.
Huh? No, we don't talk about things.
We're not going to read the 4 and then talk about it.
We haven't even talked about
Well,
Starlight
no,
Book 7 yet.
It's hiding. Yeah,
It's
in
hiding.
my bag over here.
Okay.
I have my copy over here, hiding in the bag.
Well, why don't I have my copy?
Well, you don't have your copy yet.
But I should have my copy.
You didn't go to the printer with Travis and get a copy.
Okay, first off, I'm very disappointed, by the way, because the book lists people that backed the book every issue. But I'm
You're
not listed.
That backed it every issue from day one. Did you use a different name?
Because I backed it as me, and then I backed it as Funny Book Forensics. And whoever decided to make the list
didn't put you down because you kept changing your name,
or
Funny
Funny Book
But
Forensics
you
now.
yourself were called out and thanked on the actual thank you, everybody. These are the 20 people on the hot thank you list.
Well,
yes,
that's fine. And just like most honorifics, I deserve both of them.
Both of them. Well, I'm sorry, but you change your name midstream, and it got everybody.
I didn't change my name. I still backed as me. I just asked that Funny Book Forensics be listed in the book.
Whoever was writing up the.
I was promoting your podcast in your book.
I wasn't making the list.
Well, no one was checking it twice.
I was checking the other list and made sure that Travis was being super nice.
I just made me break. Like I just imagined Travis being super nice, and then I started laughing.
Travis, okay, I will tell you this. Here's a funny thing, and this is funny for Dan and I, and maybe like a handful of other people. So. At Rose City.
Welcome
sorry,
to our podcast.
So at Rose City, Travis is sitting there waiting patiently like a child on Christmas morning to open a present, to sit there and to talk to me because I'm talking to Henry. Dan knows Henry. We've known Henry for and Henry and I are engaged in a conversation that's like, it's just a Henry and Greg conversation that could take place anywhere and last for eons. And Henry and I mean, because we've known each other for a long time, so we're just sitting there talking, and Travis is just like, nobody can see my face, but I'm making like a very like just a gleeful waiting face.
Greg,
just waiting.
Yeah, Greg is like looking up while kind of grinning, and like panting. A little kid waiting to.
The
open
irony
something.
is Travis has met Henry and hung out with Henry, and we've all gone to Henry's movie premiere for his Seattle International Film Festival film that he did, and Travis and I went to an event with Henry a couple times, to do some stuff with Henry. So Travis and Henry are friends; they know each other. But Travis is so patient and calm. Like it was the opposite of, hey, rah, 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 Travis. It was quite humorous. And then as soon as Henry was like, all right, well, I'm gonna jam out. See you later. I was like, are you ready, Travis? Travis was like, I've been waiting to talk for 15 minutes.
Yeah. I mean, that sounds about right. In fact, as long as we're on the topic of Travis and Greg, I sent you a group message with a young director named Ben Bashan, and said to follow up later. So I'm following up live on the podcast, and nobody will get
back message.
But I'm not done yet, because Ben is a young director, and he's done a few other things and worked on projects, but he directed a short called Pickles, and I highly recommend if you can get to a film festival and see this short. It is fantastic. It is not what you expect. It sounds like it would be funny based on the title.
It's not.
But it is it is not funny. issue 5 of Starlight.
Oh no!
It's issue 5 of Starlight, Fuddy.
No. Oh, as soon as you said that, I like transported to a different place, and it's
Yeah. So, well, that movie will transport you to a different place, but it is
Okay.
fantastic. And it's been running out to a bunch of film festivals. In fact, I got to see Ben and in Renton at the Seattle something film festival. And I fed him and his sister a whole bunch of Dozone.
It sounds weird, dude.
But afterwards,
if for those who don't know what Dozone is,
Dozone?
It sounds like you're giving them
Dozone. Oh, well, it's a dumpling house, and it's fantastic. But highly recommend it if you're anywhere in the Seattle region, Seattle Bellevue region. Go to Dozone.
It just sounds
delicious.
like you gave him.
I don't know why it sounded
I was
weird.
giving them some Dozone, man. We were all feeling weird.
Yeah. But it was a fantastic. I don't think it's his directorial debut, but it was a fantastic, fantastic short film. And he's working on other things. And also, just Travis, since you don't listen to this, I know you might connect with this guy because he might be helpful to you. So, or you can facilitate this, Greg. But anyway, Ben Vashin, look him up. He's this is kind of his dream, and he's following it. So
yes,
we like that on the
Follow
podcast.
The dreams.
And we should probably get into something here on the podcast that nobody dreams about reading.
Guy Gardner.
Books about Guy Gardner.
Oh man, the green.
We hate this guy.
Poop.
Well, the last time we saw Guy Gardner, he was being pseudo-abusive and trying to beat up Christopher Chance because he was dating Ice, and we liked that a lot. And it reminded us of some antics he used to do back in the 90s that we didn't really like either. Yeah, and then we also discussed how Guy has transformed over time, and they've given him maybe a backstory of like maybe being in a pseudo-abusive home or emotionally abusive home. I mean, we could just get to the backstory. We could have just kept the backstory that it was hit by a bus and it changed his personality, which after he came out of a coma, which would be an adequate backstory. But I still get, with Guy Gardner, I still get a little bit of the Gail Simone, women in refrigerators vibe with this guy, or the whole, or maybe the Ant-Man vibe, or Ant-Man Giant Man vibe of hitting women. Like
he's like right on the edge.
Like
he's
not
the edge of
yeah.
He's like like a step away from doing that, and it's like, I don't like you, dude. I don't like you.
Yeah. And it's like Hank Pym can be a big part of Ant-Man movies, so we can wash that away.
Yeah.
It's okay.
No,
yeah, it's really
if you know, you know.
I kind of
It's like that meme.
And with Hank, and with Hank Pym, right? It's like they kept using the character. It's like when you go that way with a character, I think you should really consider whether or not you ever want to use that character again,
because they have a wash over them that makes them kind of filthy, unclean. Yeah.
Forever not okay. Yeah. It's like, and even if you want to forgive the character theoretically or something like that, is that somebody's life you want to read about?
Not so much.
And and just so now they have done a lot of things with Guy Gardner. Jeff Johns did a lot with Gardner, and why am I blanking? I'll remember in a few minutes, but Colin Bunn, I think, did some of the stuff with him too. Colin Bunn, fantastic author, right?
He's a stand-up guy.
At the, I think that people have tried to do some creative things with him, and I think they had to, right? You have to make the character a little bit more, give it more dimensions than it had in the past. Tom King, however, as we talked about last time, seemed to be taking the character back to a two-dimensional character, back to how Giffen and DeMatteis were using the character, right?
I think why Tom might be doing that is so that you don't feel a lot of connection to this character, in the sense like, you're just reading this character as he is, as Tom sees him or saw him, and puts him on the page so that you're like, all right, cool. This is a jerk of a guy. This guy is a jerk. I don't want to see him as more than that.
Well, if we're doing film noir, he's almost
Yeah.
like the mob heavy in a sense,
Yeah.
like coming in. And we just came off an issue where we have a character that was above
Right.
reproach through most of his tenure in DC Comics but then like 15 years ago, they started to change that with the Martian Manhunter being manipulated in a sexual relationship with fire, right? And we've got 2 femme fatales almost now, right? We're not sure about ice yet, but we think we are. And then we're pretty sure about fire, but we just found out that fire financed Booster Gold's bagel chain by manipulating Martian Manhunter into getting the money from Ted Kord. So it's like a big mystery. We know that there's a signature on things and that Booster went back in time, so they were able to trace that signature on things, but also the poison they got for Lex Luthor was from outer space. So we still know it's one of the Justice League International that did it, at least one. We're not exactly sure who, but we're building this whole mystery as Christopher Chance, the human target, tries to figure out who killed him.
Did it? Who done it?
And we know he's dead because we saw that he was dead on the first 3 pages of the book. So at least we think he's dead.
Lock.
It is
He's
a comic
gone.
book. We'll find out. You haven't read to the end, and I have.
I'm
so
getting
I
there,
know,
Dan. Don't be spoiling it for the listeners.
You gotta. The listeners have had time to read it.
They don't need to know that I haven't read it yet. Why are you spilling that? Why are you spilling that tea?
Well, because it's just like when I spilled tea on the podcast. Did you know Mandy Patinkin is going to be like performing at the Paramount in like April?
What's he doing?
I think he's going to sing. But I figured you should let Ann know that. Ann, the owner of the Retro Emporium on Meeker Street in Kent, Washington.
Yeah.
I feel like she would want to know this. Well, anyway.
I don't.
Do you have 6 fingers?
I'm safe.
That's good. Yeah, you're safe. So he's not coming to your house. So we flip in and we get advertisements for the Shadow War Batman, which I didn't read, so we're gonna move on there. Though I do really like Joshua Williamson. Maybe I should have read that. Anyway, okay.
I'm just sitting here thinking to myself, like, with the announcement that they've cast a Hal Jordan with I can't think of the
they cast a guy Gardner.
They cast a guy Gardner, but they also cast a Hal Jordan with shoot, why can't I think of his name now? He's from Friday Night Lights. Probably like, I don't know. No,
he
was
a
the
football
coach.
Player or a coach. So he's gonna be old Hal Jordan.
And I was thinking to myself when I saw the picture of him, I was like, dude, he would be good as Christopher Chance. But then I was sitting there thinking to myself, you know who else would be a good Christopher Chance? Ron Livingston.
Who? Interesting.
Sorry. Put that in your...
Well, like, even like, so no shade on Ryan Reynolds or anything, but back when the first Green Lantern movie came out, Christopher Maloney did the voice for Green Lantern in the animated. And then I was like, why didn't they just have him play Green Lantern? Because he was still coming off Law & Order SVU, right? Still hot and could have carried the movie. You didn't need a Ryan Reynolds look to the character, right? And since the movie didn't work out so well, we know that. Now, that could have been the terrible writing, using multiple villains, and just overall not understanding Green Lantern. But besides that, besides those things, and a bad director and everything else that movie suffered from, additionally, like having Hal be a little bit older, I always thought would have been a better approach.
Kyle Chandler is the actor. Sorry.
I see. Yes.
In the Lantern series.
Well, Well, Kyle Chandler is going to let you know that football and Jesus will make everything okay.
I don't know. Did he do that in the show?
I didn't. So you're actually, do you want another plug here? I feel like we're going to have another plug. Here, you go ahead and flip to the first page, and I'm going to plug
flip
something
to the first
for
page.
you.
Christopher Chance, you asterisk idiot. Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Asterisk idiot. We still can't say the F word in here, even though we have sex
after
and it's rated for adults.
They just got out of bed. Yeah. You're gonna tell me something, but it's this whole entire exchange with Ice and him, about going to talk about fire. It's this whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I found my plug.
Yeah.
Do you want me to do it before we get into the story? Well, this might be a competitor to the Retro Emporium, so maybe I shouldn't pop them up on the podcast. But one of my former students, Sarah Snow, owns a store in Murray, Kentucky called Fanspired. And the reason I brought Sarah up is because she used to take Madden football and name all of the players on her team after the players on Friday Night Lights.
Oh, that's funny.
But you can also go to thefanspired.com or visit her store on 109th South 4th Street in Murray, Kentucky. And in addition to getting all sorts of cool superhero stuff like cups and pops and all that, she has all sorts of sports stuff too.
Send all the Retro Emporium traffic to Kentucky, Dan.
Well, I
From
am
Kent to
because
Kentucky.
her store might have been made. Her store might have been made for me because it's like.
But you just
sports
picked
and
up a
comics.
bunch of Mariners stuff. I'm just joking.
I did.
Like, honestly, I think it's awesome that there's other stores out there that have different things for different people, of different likings and things that are out there. That's awesome. Fanspired in Kentucky.
Thefanspired.com
in Kentucky.
And Christopher Chance probably wouldn't go there because he doesn't have
but
time.
he likes baseball.
Yeah. But ICE is just basically, would you say ICE is just going off about Christopher Chance investigating
she's not
fire?
happy. And for ICE, who's usually pretty cool, she's pretty hot about it.
Yeah, maybe she's not so sweet.
ICE is not nice. ICE is freaking on fire.
Well, then we get to the next page, and by the way, it's this cool blue wash with the orange window. So we're back to the really cool thing Smallwood does with the window shades. And Chance is facing against the camera, I guess, facing toward the wall. But we get like the orange background, and we get the little summary, right? 6 days ago, someone tried to poison me. Now he has to find someone. It turns out Guy Gardner recently discovered Lex Luthor's killer ICE a few years back, so we're getting the summary. By the way, I mentioned before that I love these summaries because this book was published as a graphic novel, but it did come out monthly. So when you have a book with a really complex plot and you're reading it from month to month, or in my case, sometimes not month to month because your books get stacked up or you get a whole bunch of books at once, this is actually really cool, right? Like, I like these. I don't think you like the summaries as much as I do. I like the summaries
when they're, like you said, when they're kind of needed and necessary in a sense. But if it's coming out like in a pretty consistent way, or if it's not, if it's being put out in a manner that it doesn't,
if it's a very simple book,
necessarily need it, it's not called for. It doesn't. It messes up the flow of the story by eating up too much page.
But we get one whole page dedicated to it. And basically summarizing, he's gotten close to ICE. We know that one of the heroes tried to kill Lex Luthor, at least one. And we learned that Fire is having an affair with the Martian Manhunter, which is weird because the Martian Manhunter's weakness is fire, right? Get it? Yes. And Chacos. Not Chaco. Chacos, but not the shoes.
Not the shoes. Are Chaco shoes?
No, he doesn't. His weakness is toe straps. Yeah.
What the hell, dude?
The dog
Oh,
chewed my
no.
Chacos too. One of the dogs, not my dog. Yes,
The other dog.
chewed the strap in half, which makes them useless. If he chewed the sole, probably could have been okay. But anyway,
Dog didn't want your soul.
we're back to the next page, and Ice is like, "Fuck you." She's like, this is just kind of like a 1 page of summary and 3 pages of Ice just going, "Fuck you,
fighting,
you,"
slamming doors, coughing. Yeah, it's a rough.
Yeah,
it's a lot of rough.
And he finally says, "Ice, what do you want me?" He starts coughing, and she's like, "No," and then she leaves.
Presumably she leaves, and then he's
She
sitting
left.
there with the Chinese food. It's turns into like a bare naked lady song.
Wow. Damn. And we get another one of the really cool credits pages where the fortune cookie says chapter 6. It were a delicate stratagem. It were a delicate stratagem. I'm not going to analyze that for grammar. Written by Tom King, artist Greg Smallwood, letterer Clayton Cowles, editor Ben Abernathy, and cover by variant cover.
He was having a succulent Chinese meal,
but that we're not reading. Yeah, and we're reminded that The Human Target was created by Len Wein and Carmen Infantino, 2 people that have never done anything in comics.
Right underneath the soy sauce packet.
Well, we flip the page again, and the phone is ringing. And he picks it up and says, 1 second. And we just hear Chant saying, "Yeah, fine, all right, I'm coming over, thank you." And he's like, "Too much whiskey," and 4 hours later, I get up. He's sad because Ice went away, apparently. And he's like, "I can still smell her perfume." He's fallen for Ice. Anything, yeah. Even though he thinks she might have murdered him, potentially.
Maybe. I mean, Ice may not be nice. We don't know.
Well, we don't know. We know fire is on fire.
Fire's a liar.
There's a lot of affairs going on.
A lot of affairs. A lot of stuff's up in the air. In the air up there.
You better be careful. Stop the rhyming, because the demon will appear.
The demon?
Yeah, why are you rhyming? We don't want... No. Yes. Entrogen. We don't need Jason Blood to show up. We've already got... Yeah, we've got enough of a story going on. We don't need Entrogen showing up. Jeez. Be careful. You don't know what you rhyme in the DC universe. You invoke certain things.
Stop the rhyming, and he means it.
Well, anyway, how we get back to Dr. Midnight. We get back to stop it. So we get back to Dr. Midnight, longtime member of the Justice League of America.
So long.
Been there forever. Yeah. And he says, "How you feeling?" And Chance is annoyed. "That's why I have to come all the way down here. It's just to get the results of some water."
Check up on you, man. He wants to be friends.
Yeah. He's like, Dr. Midnight's kind of annoyed, as he should be. "Do you want me to tell you what I see?" He's like, "No." And he's like, "Christopher, listen, I know it hurts, doesn't it? All through you. I'm sorry. It probably feels like you're a balloon waiting to pop." He's like, "I'm fine." They're fighting. Anyway, we get to the next page and we find that the water sample you brought me in the bread, it wasn't easy to extract the time particles, but what I got matches the poison in your system. It's a 1-to-1 signature unique. So you found your poison, you find your killer. He's like, "I got a hunch. I think I got enough time to play it out." Just a couple days. And he's like, "There are other ways to go." Dr. Midnight's like, "There are other ways to go through this, besides revenge and drink." And Chance is like, "There are." And Midnight's like, he said it before. It's easy to dismiss this. I could take you to church with me. That's gonna. I feel like he's gonna say sure.
Put hands on him.
He thinks for a minute. Yeah, he thinks for a minute. He's like, after Mom passed, when I was still pretty little, strangers gave me books on God and heaven and all that, and I remember I read them one Sunday morning, and I asked my dad what religion we were, Jewish, Christian, Muslim, and he said he wasn't the type to tell someone else what to believe. It was up to me. But whatever I decided, he'd take me right now and go do some worshiping. And Chance just pats Dr. Midnight on the shoulder and says, Jesus Christ, Doc, you're the best. And then Dad said, or we could stay home and watch the game. And we know what decision likely happened based on this interaction.
I mean, it's game night. They sat down and watched a game, of course. Game day. Game day, game night, whatever. What's the difference?
Do you watch the footballs? No.
The foosballs? No, they watch Parcheesi being played on TV, national TV. Everybody watches Parcheesi being played, Dan. Don't you love to watch Parcheesi? It's the nation's game.
I don't know that I like to play Parcheesi.
You should. Oh my gosh. Let's set it up and go.
That's what we need at the Retro Emporium.
A bunko night
in Kent, Washington is bunko night with the tables.
No, I want to play Farkle. Yeah. I like Farkle too.
I do like some Farkle.
You want to play Farkle? You want to come down and play some Farkle?
Sure.
Why not?
But not tonight. Well, it's noisy for a podcast and people can't see. We don't have video yet set up. Even though you're in a cool location.
This is an awesome location.
I've got like a big table with a gray
Looks
sheet.
Like you're about to do an
me
alien
and
autopsy.
And you've got. That'd be awesome, actually.
No, it wouldn't be cool.
Well, anyway, not that we're getting distracted by the book or anything like we ever do, but he plans his rest of his day after his visit. He's going to go touch base with Luigi.
Forget Mario.
He's going to take care of whatever's been sitting around. There's no Mario, just Luigi. That's why they're losing. And
he's got to go talk to his Princess Peach.
He does some basic surveillance of Ice. This is going to go well. He shows up at Ice's house. I don't know. Now, I can't imagine this going well. But he knocks on the door. And he says he's going to get ready to continue to find his killer, except then he ends up on a polar bear rug with Ice.
That doesn't... Well, I guess, he got somewhere.
I mean, it's
game day. Bases are loaded.
And then a bunch of noise starts happening, and they wake up, and Ice is like, "I think we froze the pipes. Must have gotten cold.
Got chilly in there."
And they try to use the pipes, and they have to go order out. So Chance starts to get redressed. It's kind of like pre-toasting. Yeah. It's redressing.
Oh, pre-toasting like your bagels? Oh man. The best bagels are pre-toasted. Let me tell you. If you haven't had a pre-toasted bagel with a schmear, you're missing out. First, you get your bagel that's pre-toasted. Then you retoast the pre-toasted bagel that's toasted. Toasted once again. Schmear on. Put them back together. Delish.
So you're taking a toasted bagel and you're retoasting.
He can't even just let it go. He just has to keep it.
Nope, I can't. I can't let it go. There's no such thing. It's the joke in the book that there's no pre-toasting. Like, why do you keep trying to pre-toast? There's no pre-toast. There's only retoast. You can't pre-toast.
I want somebody to go pre-toast to retoast.
What? You're toasting the bagel before it gets cooked.
Let it cook.
So you're toasting the dough before it gets boiled.
No, you're boiling it and then toasting it after you cut it, putting it back together.
Yeah, so that's exactly. That's just toasting.
Toasting again. That's pre-toasting.
No, there's
Oh,
no
there's
such thing as
pre-toast.
pre-toasting.
Listeners,
There's
let us know what
retoasting.
you think.
I'll give you retoasting.
Who's winning here?
And if you agree with Greg, you're wrong. So
Who's
that's
wrong
the
with
easy
Greg?
answer. Like,
Raise a hand. That's one.
it makes it simple. Most people.
Most
Most people. And so, yeah, the everybody's going to side with you. There's nobody that ever sides with me. Now, it's just like, hey guys, go on social media and decide if you side with Greg or Dan. Do you like the funny guy that makes good jokes and is entertaining and writes cool comic books? Or do you like the angry man who reviews comic books online? Let us know at Funny Book Forensics on Facebook or Twitter
Do you like the guy?
or Instagram.
Do you like the guy
That's
who's
right.
wrong?
Let us know
Or
if
the
you
guy-
like the funny guy
the
or
guy
you like
who's
the angry
right?
guy.
And then it's like they don't know what to say because they don't know who's right or who's wrong.
What I've usually found is they like the guy who's
What?
wrong.
But I'm
Well, we'll know in
But
like a
I'm
couple
right.
weeks whether that's true or not. Well, anyway. Yeah, I wasn't referring to you. That So I took it to a dark place. A dark place.
Oh no, not again, not the chokey.
A big orange
big
dark
orange dark
place.
No. Put me back on the sun again.
It's a scary place. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, you should just, watch out in Florida.
Scary
It's a
place.
scary place.
I don't like it.
That big orange ball hits it and turns it into a sauna
Oh,
every
gosh.
day. I'm not sure why anybody would want
Anyways.
to. Well, never. Let me lose all the Florida listeners now. Not sure why anybody would want to live in Florida, but
There's
people
3
do.
Florida listeners.
Oh, that's good. I'm sorry. Your state is a swamp. In fact, the football field for your main football team
It's
is
true.
called the swamp, and there are alligators
But
that
they
will murder
taste
you,
good.
and snakes that will eat you alive, and manatees. And we really don't know why there are manatees in the world at all. Like they look like
Somebody
dead puppies
needs
in the
to
water,
lure
but
the
they
fishermen
exist.
to their deaths. Yes.
The manatees, they lure things. How come the alligators don't eat the manatees?
They should. I mean, alligators taste so good, though.
They're scary and they will eat
The
you and have
manatees?
many teeth.
Or the alligators.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but that's why they're so
Alligators.
delicious.
No, can you imagine if manatees had
Ah,
alligator
that'd be
teeth? Now
scary.
that would be one
I
fucking
would
scary
not go
animal.
I mean, I don't like going in open water. I would definitely not go in open water. Oh, look it.
Look at me, I'm so cute.
Arr.
Ah!
Yeah, no.
That's kind of terrifying. Somebody should
Okay,
draw
artist
that.
friends out there, please draw us a manatee with a lot of teeth fighting a hippo.
Yeah,
alligator
teeth. A manatee
fighting a
with
hippo.
alligator teeth. What would that be called? Like a manatee with an alligator mouth?
A maligator. Mantigator? I
mantigator?
don't know. Come up with a name and let us know.
Manigator? A manigator sounds like a gay bar. Like that's. If I came back from like Europe and said I hung out at the Manigator in Paris, you would have been like, "Oh, that sounds like a good place
Did
for
you
Dan
have
to go."
fun? All right.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the
Were the
Manigator
drinks
is
good?
fantastic. It adds all sorts of things. Yeah, it's definitely what I
Well,
went to
I
the
don't know.
Manigator
I
for
mean,
was the drinks.
The
Yeah.
music was good. The drinks
Yeah.
were good. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Cool.
Especially in
The
Paris, to the
Manigator.
Manigator. Yeah, the Manigator. It's so maybe that's not a good name for an animal. I don't know.
You
The
definitely don't
Manigator.
want teeth on the manigator.
Yeah. You don't want teeth at the Manigator. That's correct. The Manigator is a no
Oh my
teeth
God.
zone. That's We ban the
You banned the
Manigator.
teeth on the
Like-
manigator.
ban
Wow.
teeth at the Manigator. Yeah, that's a toothless zone.
Jesus.
Yeah. No teeth. X teeth.
Oh my God.
Now, artist friends, go ahead and draw us the Ghostbuster sign with a tooth.
On the manigator bar.
Yeah, it's a good thing we have artist friends that can render all this
Yes,
for us.
please. We wish to have this because, I mean, Dan wishes.
The Manigator. I don't know what the art for this episode is going to look like.
all of
now.
a sudden,
I'm just gonna say that.
a new bar opens up in Kent. It's called the Manigator.
The Manigator. I don't think you could really have the Manigator in Kent. I think the regulations are against the Manigator.
No,
there.
well, I mean, Nashville's is in Kent.
Well, I didn't say
Okay.
you couldn't have a gay bar.
The
I was just thinking the manigator would be a bad fit. Yes. The no teeth
No
zone. You can't really have the no teeth
Yeah,
zone.
it's-
in
it's-
Kent, I don't think.
Oh.
Oh.
I get what you're saying. Oh, you brought it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Listeners, I'm sorry if children are listening. Just like Uncle Roger says, I'm
Half
sorry,
of the
children.
population of Kent would be out of. They couldn't go to the Manigator.
Yeah. Well, anyway, back to the story. A hammer is coming in
Yes.
to the building. A big green hammer. Not the kind of hammer you'd find at the Manigator, but definitely a hammer. It's
I'm just dying over here, dude. See, you're funny, Dan.
it's I don't know about that. So we had the Manigator, and I mean the hammer comes through, and Guy Gardner has pinned Christopher Chance
Sounds like
against
the
wall with his
Manigator.
hammer. Yeah, it is again not legal in Kent, Washington, but maybe Kent, United
yeah,
Kingdom.
true.
So could be okay.
Welcome
yeah.
to the Manigator.
Well, I love this scene actually because Gardner looks like he's like a foot shorter.
He
than
does,
Christopher
man.
Chance.
He looks so tiny.
He looks like an angry child.
He's got
again.
that red hair, that angry elf face. He's just like, I'm so mad you're with my girlfriend.
He does have an angry elf face.
It's not your girlfriend,
Yeah.
dude.
And well, he starts to take out Chance, and then Ice comes through and hits him. And then he looks like a beat puppy dog on the next page. Like, why did you hit me? What did I do wrong? And she's like, Guy, get the fuck out of my house. Oh, we can't say fuck. I keep saying fuck
Say
on
it a
this
lot.
podcast.
Do you put the thing that says?
I don't say it a lot. Actually, the last few podcasts I really haven't.
No, I don't
I'm
have
gonna
the.
have to put. I do label them. I do label them all
People
explicit.
haven't noticed. I
'cause,
lost my
well,
sound.
now we're
I
talking
lost
about
my
sex.
sound thing. I can't bleep
the
them
Manigator.
out with my sound bar. My sound.
Well,
soundboard.
that's too bad. I'm so heartbroken. I don't think you need this. We're funny
But I
enough without
like
the sound
it.
thing this episode.
People, if you missed the soundboard, let me know. I'll go get a new one.
Oh God. Here we go.
Drink.
If you liked the soundboard,
The
you like the
soundboard?
soundboard, ask Greg to go
Soundboard.
soundboard.
That's
Yes.
that's a character in a
The sound-
that's a character in a D&D.
That's in The Witcher.
What? The Witcher?
That's
The
in The
soundboard.
Witcher. That's in The Witcher. Yeah,
Yes.
soundboard.
Yes.
Well, anyway, there's like a demon in the D&D game that has that soundboard and like uses it all the time. Yeah, it's one of your games. Well,
I wish.
Guy Gardner looks up after he gets told to get out of the house. And he's like, "Come on, baby. Do you know what this fucking did to me? Do you know what I had to do to this? I hate this. I just want to tell you, like, this dialogue. I despise this. So if Tom King is trying to get me to hate Guy Gardner, it's working.
No, this guy's poison.
Yeah. Well, also, it's just like now he's playing the victim. Like, did you know what you did to me when you rejected me? I get to go off and buy a gun and, like, go shoot up a school or something. Like, I fucking hate this. Like, I will say this. Like, I took it dark after all the humor, and I a little bit apologize, but I really don't like this, right? Like, I think now I'm really torn, right? Because as the story goes, I feel like it's good writing for what they do. But it almost feels like a step too far. Because it's like you said, the Guy Gardner character teeters on the edge. And that's what I see, right? Now I see this guy like going up and like shooting a concert because his girlfriend broke up with him, right? The way the dialogues look and the facial expressions.
Oh yeah, no, the way
Smallwood
that they
has.
make this version of Guy Gardner out in this book, in this series, he is the quintessential dude that pulls that kind of stuff. He's that guy. He's the dude that does that kind of thing, or drives his car into a Saturday market and blames everybody else.
And that's what that's why I think I start to feel really uncomfortable with the character, right? Like,
and you should.
and now even here too, as he like tries to beat up Chance, right? And now Ice is standing up and saying, did I say let's have a talk? And he's like, baby, honey, you got to listen to... Oh, my God. Okay.
He's a
So
gaslighting
I'm
piece
just
of
letting
crap.
everybody in the world know. I'm just letting everybody in the world now, too. Like, unless it's a very intimate situation, do not call a woman honey. Ever. Ever.
I know, honey.
Ever. Don't know.
You're like,
it's like the most demeaning...
I know. No, dude, I get it. It's like
No, but it literally makes me like burr up.
No, when dudes come into the shop and they're like I'd say like dudes when older gentlemen come into the shop and they're talking to Ann or Kayla and it's just like they say that honey sweetie and it's like I could see them just die inside and they're like yes and it's like
yeah. Hey, owner of the store that I'm going to call honey.
And then I grab them and redirect them like away if I'm there because it's like I know that your intent is this, but boy oh boy,
But it's been used as demeaning forever, right? Like this is like you're sitting. This is like the men sitting at a diner and saying, "Honey, can you refill my coffee?" It's it's been used toward like a quote unquote lower different class or to otherize people, right? It's just anyway. Language, I studied it. It bugs me. This one bugs me a lot.
This guy it's one I don't use. Dirt. The dirt.
Honey, sweetie. Like, ugh. And especially the way it's said, right? The intent here.
Definitely demeaning and he's not meaning it in a sweet way.
Well, and he's mansplaining too. He's got to tell her that this guy is poison. You and me are important. And then Ice is again like, get the fuck out of my house. Now we get a really cool 6-panel grid where they're having the conversation. And he's like, that's enough, baby, isn't it? And she's like, rah! Like she's
done.
And then he starts trying the baby honey and saying, I'm a big boy. You don't want to mess with me. And she says, oh, guy, my poor one, you still have no idea how little you are. And he tries to hit her. This is where I start to get really frustrated with the character in this book. And Chance starts to go for a gun as Gardner starts to use the ring on Ice. And he shoots the gun again. And Guy easily blocks it. He hits Chance with his ring, with a big ball and chain.
Yeah. It's a mace.
What is that?
It's a morning glory.
Yeah, that's what that is, right? Mace, yeah.
I believe. A morning...
morning star? Or...
Is it a morning star?
I think it's a morning star. I think a morning glory is a different kind of thing. That might be at the
the Man Gator. So I was at the Man Gator and I had this new drink called the Morning Glory.
Manigator, yeah.
You never believe what it had inside.
Yeah, that side. Yeah. Wow. You wake up to that one. So it's Gardner is anyway, Gardner's then he's just like rage in his eyes and then Ice starts to freeze
and
him.
His eyes go from rage to
gets really cold.
Shitless.
Yeah. And he's trying to talk to her and he just keeps getting frozen. And Chance is like, he says the line, and this is the one, he's really uncomfortable with it. His arm's on fire, but he says, but I take some comfort in knowing that it'll be over quick enough after what she's done to him. And he punches Guy in the face, and Guy shatters into icy brain bits.
Just like, he is a million pieces.
His face does. Yeah. And the adrenaline drains, the poison fills the void left behind after the incident. He says, I'm dying, but at least I'm not alone, because now they're together because they've murdered someone together.
Killed Guy Gardner.
In self-defense?
Yeah, fair. Yeah, presumably. They
but
literally knocked his block off.
It always is interesting with superheroes, though, right? Is anything in self-defense, because like Ice could have used her powers to
Yeah,
neutralize him, I presume.
and Chance didn't have to punch him in the face once he was frozen. He could have just like.
Well, I think he may already be dead before he gets punched in the face. I feel like the face punch is cathartic. I mean, she's already frozen.
Though? I mean, do you think he would have thawed out?
Well, when I saw Bernie and Jack Black put that poor lady in the refrigerator.
Yeah.
Or in the freezer after shooting her. I think she was dead. But
she might have been dead.
Already.
She might have died of the shock.
And if you haven't seen that movie, Greg, you should really watch it. Yeah. And if you listeners haven't seen the movie,
he's a nice guy. He's just a nice guy that like wants to help out the old lady for a while until he shoots her with a 22.
But they apologize to each other here on the page in the book. I'm sorry. And then we get this really creepy ass page.
Oh.
Where the blood brain bits are melting.
Gross.
And
then they all kind of form back together again.
We get Chance's dialogue. Yeah, and let me read Chance's dialogue here, because I know we're trying not to read the whole book, but this one's important. He's like, she freezes the wound, stops the hurt, then she gets a med kit she has left from her Justice League days and patches me up. The whole time, we don't say much, just a few, move your hand this way. That feels fine, thank you. It's not until sometime later that we start talking about Guy, and then we both know it's too late. The right thing to do would be to have called in some superheroes as soon as we were able, told them what happened, and see if there's anything they could do. Heroes are in the business of miracles. You never know. Of course, then there'd be some questions. Could Ice have stopped this? She's a superhero, too. She had her own miracles. Surely there's some way to calm Guy down without killing him. Surely you could have done something to help Chance. Before you know it, with enough of these questions, self-defense becomes murder. So when she finally calms and finally asks me the big question, I know what she really is asking. And Ice asks, do you think anybody knew Guy was here?
Boom, boom, boom.
Is it going to be all right? Okay, so now we know Ice intended to kill Guy Gardner.
Sneaky. Dirty.
I think. Now, do we know why, or do we know that it was planned? I don't know, but she clearly wants him to stay dead.
She wanted Guy gone for a while, out of the picture. Excommunicado.
And Chance discloses that Jon Stewart has shared that Guy turns off his ring locator. So, how convenient. Seems like a MacGuffin, but okay.
It's a guide MacGuffin. Guy Guffin. Guy Gardner Guffin.
And yeah, and we're here. So now we are, they're just sitting with each other, pondering what they're going to do next. And they creepily go upstairs to bed. I mean, I guess that's what you do after you murder somebody.
Why not?
Well, anyway, now we get him riding in the car, leaving, and he says, sometimes later I'm back on the road. I'm thinking of all the men I've done in. Some of them I stabbed, some I shot, some I got down with my bare hands. All of them had families and desires and ambition, and I'd really like to say that each stands out. But if I'm honest, they blend together somehow. Wow. All of those crooked faces and clenched teeth, but this latest one, this guy, in the end, I think I'll remember him. Well, we get back to the office with Luigi, and he's like, where you been? And he's like, went to the doctor, then ran a lead, not a lot of nothing. And he's like, doctor, are you okay? And he's like, I'm getting there. Holds up his whiskey in the flask. And Luigi's pointing out, you got there a lot faster with her. And he's like, her. He's like realizing he knows that Luigi's figured out the relationship. And he's like, you know me, boss. When some women you can't say no to. We got the whole femme fatale thing back. And Now it says 12 days. That's all I get to find who murdered me. And I just spent today fighting, drinking, screwing, and killing. And it looks, and he gets up to his office, and we have a woman there smoking, and says, "Hello, Christopher. It's nice to see you. It's been a long time."
Uh-oh.
And then he says, "I'm a fucking idiot."
Ooh. Boom, boom, boom.
To be continued.
Gosh.
Yeah, I think we're gonna stop with this one because the next up is Tales of the Human Target.
Human Target. I didn't know that the Human Target had tails. How many tails does he have?
As many as the man.
Oh, that's a lot. That's a lot. That's
of
more than a Sonic.
Yeah. Wow.
The video game.
The video game.
Yeah.
Not the restaurant.
The restaurant's a different thing.
Well, my brain went there because I'm a big fan of Diet Strawberry Limeades.
But
and so
the video game,
my brain immediately went to Sonic.
I mean, like Sonic and Tails, and Knuckles too.
Well, originally when we started this adventure into the Human Target, we told you we were going to cover 2 issues of podcast. Sometimes that doesn't really work because these stories are really in depth and hard to explain. Now, the last one was. This one was a little bit easier to explain.
But
they killed Guy Gardner.
It was meaty at the same time.
But I don't want to jump into the interlude issue, which is the Tales of the Human Target. I think that one's next.
It's a lot of. There's going to be a lot of things to discuss and pull apart because each one of those things is a standalone little mini story within one bigger issue.
Which ties to the stories we've seen so far to give you a little background on the characters and where Tom King was taking
Makes
them.
us understand them and the Human Target. Christopher Chance, do a little dance.
So we are going to put a pause on this one, and we will cover Tales of the Human Target next time. But I feel like we've talked about a whole bunch of stuff already. Do you? I assume you want to plug a book that's still out on the shelves. That's destemmed.
Destemmed? Well, I thought we were going to plug your new book called Danigator. So it's where...
No, there's no book called Danigator. No. That book is like... That movie or book was shown with Midnight Cowboy in the 70s. We can't do that again.
Danigator?
Yeah. No, that's not okay. You didn't even pick
the Midnight
up the reference
Cowboy,
I just gave, so or you're diving past it.
No, so we'll pitch the Absolute Zeros Camp Launchpad. That is the Steam Reading Challenge. Steam Reading Challenge pick. No, Steam.
Not STEM.
We
added
art for those who like
science,
engineering,
technology,
art,
engineering,
yes.
Math.
Yes, all those things.
You know who's good at STEAM?
Cool.
Power Girl. Yeah, she owned her own company, and she's really smart.
She's good at art.
And it was a technology company. She's good at art, I'm sure. I mean, you've seen her costumes. They show a lot of artistic parts for some people.
Out of this world.
She is out of this world. She's from Krypton on Earth 2. Earth 1, Earth not 1, Earth Prime, Earth 2. Well, anyway, Absolute Zero's Camp Launchpad on sale everywhere.
Or ask your librarian, pick it up for the Steam Reading Challenge. Lift off with us because we want you to reach for the stars.
Well, there you go. And that's a book.
You should.
And you should buy it.
It's fantastic. I'm not just saying that because I wrote it with Mike Tanner, but Gabriel Gomez did some amazing artwork, and that's what makes it so great.
Well, that's cool. Okay, so there we go.
There we
go.
That's it. That's all you need to know.
Yeah, I guess. Well, I mean, I think we plugged everything. We did not mention Jiu-Jitsu lawyer
Why
Paul
did
Boudreaux
you not mention Jiu-Jitsu lawyer Paul Boudreaux on the podcast, Dan?
I mean, mostly because he didn't refer anything bad to us, and nothing bad happened. So we didn't need to bring up lawyers or fighting.
Good. But
if perhaps Christopher Chance and Ice
after
may need a good
murdering
lawyer.
somebody in their living room.
And if they did need a good lawyer who could also tap out the other
Jiu-Jitsu lawyer Paul.
they could find Jiu-Jitsu lawyer Paul Boudreau on 27th and Bridgeport Way / Jackson Avenue in Tacoma.
And just like Better Call Saul, he's next to a nail salon.
He is next to a nail salon, but Better Call Saul. Better Call Saul has a room behind the nail salon. Jiu-Jitsu lawyer Paul has his own business where his office where he works on the law is behind the jiu-jitsu gym. I can say words.
And behind that place is this new place opening.
But that is not where he meets with clients.
He doesn't meet.
So now, if you want to meet him on the mats, he's happy to host you
there.
He also would happily meet you in his law office, but you could contact him and find out. Late Night Legal, if you want to reach out to him at Gmail. Late Tonight Legal.
It's where I get all my legal work done.
Yeah.
It is.
It is.
Don't joke.
Actually.
Everything I always do. But
that is true. Wow.
He's the tall king of the little people. How could I not?
That is true. All right. So with that said, I guess we should wrap up this fine episode of Funny Book Forensics. And I'm going to press a button to find out if I'm happy or sad.
Why are you sad?
I am sad. But I had a happy podcast,
Oh,
so
no.
everything is
He's
good.
sad. But we are happy because we're going to go to the Manticore.
We can't tell you why I'm sad because this will be released not in time. Not the Manticore. No, we're not going to the Manticore. That's a whole different kind of thing. And if I'm going to the Manigator, it's not with you. Yeah. So I'm just letting you know. If I'm going to the Manigator, it's not with you.
All right,
and on that note, that's a fine ending to this episode of Funny Book Forensics. So on that, I'm Dan. That's Greg. And we'll see you next time.